Hello there, dear listener. As you might have heard, we just finished The Horned Rat last week and are about to head into the final part of The Enemy Within, which is called Empire in Ruins. We need a bit more time to prepare this for you, and you will be able to hear the first episode of Empire in Ruins next week. This week, however, we will give you the second episode of our Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay bonus campaign, which is called Rough Nights and Hard Days, and is available bi-weekly on our Patreon by backing us on the $10 per month level. We have reached episode 21 of this series over there, so if you back us now, you can binge all those episodes while you wait for The Enemy Within to continue. Gunnar Stark, who you've gotten to meet during The Horned Rat, is one of the two main characters in this bonus series. You will get to meet him both before and after his adventures with the heroes of Middenheim. If you missed the first free episode that we released of this series, you can find a link to that in the show notes. And if you like what you hear, do follow the link and head over to our Patreon. It's your support there that makes it possible for us to continue creating this show. Now, without further ado, the second episode of Rough Nights and Hard Days for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
And so the night draws on at the Free Feathers as everyone is beginning to gather in the main area of the tavern/inn. Of course, it's not closing time just yet. These places often stay open till at least midnight. You never know when a traveller will need to come off the road. But at this time of night, normally most people are either in a tavern or, well, travelling quickly to one, if they can. So downstairs is quite busy. Again, it's largely dominated by this party. The lady herself, accompanied by several servants. You, Sebastian, have also been counting the numbers of armed men here. 2 upstairs, at least 6 here. There's maybe a couple others. Again, they are all dressed in the livery of noble house guards. They all have the heraldry of House Amberstein on them, carrying large pikes or swords, looking a little bored. And then, of course, there's the innkeeper, his staff, and a couple of other people milling around. It's still a few empty tables, though, as well. So, Sebastian von Schlussel, how do you look as you are now dressed properly as you come down the stairs?
Well, yes, I have my fine, noble clothes on, and I am going to go over to the Graven and introduce myself. And I have done this my entire life, literally, learning how to, what the proper etiquette is, how you are supposed to approach someone, especially if they happen to be a slightly more important noble than you are. My father is obviously no Elector Count, nor am I related to one, so she would be above me here. That would be the way to understand this, yes?
Very much so. Again, she's a Graven, which is just by default a lot higher than even a Baron.
Yes, and I'm the second son of a Baron, so I don't actually have a proper title myself other than belonging to a noble house.
Indeed, but you do have the etiquette for nobility, so let's do a charm roll, but give yourself a plus 20. The main obstacle being that as you approach, 2 guards immediately just naturally step in your way and just say, "Oh, sorry, private area."
That is 3 degrees of success.
Well, you're going to be successful. How do you politely get past the guards? This, of course, is acceptable. They don't currently know who you are just yet.
Pardon me. I'm here to introduce myself. I am Sebastian von Schlüssel from the Barony of Teufeltal. I'm also travelling here, and well, I saw that the Graven von Leibowitz was here, and I just had to come over and introduce myself. To not do that would be incredibly rude.
And the guards look a little confused, but they do part ways as they look at you and listen to you and clearly do understand that you are at least carrying yourself as a noble would. And at that, the Graven herself looks in your direction and laughs. "Oh my goodness, really? Oh my, do come over. Oh, you two, let this one through. A fellow noble in such a place. What a pleasure. And here I was thinking I'd be bored stiff. Well, before bed. Come over. What was that? Where are you from?"
And I will do a courtly curtsy, a proper bow, as one does to those superior to oneself. Let me introduce myself. I am Sebastian von Schlüssel from the Barony of Teufeltal. I'm the second son of Baron Harold von Schlüssel over in Überstreich. I don't know if you know of us, but I certainly know of you, of the von Leibowitzes of Amberstein, and it's truly my pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Oh dear, the pleasure's all mine. Yes, I think I'm aware of that. Is that somewhere... Eberschreich, yes?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, wonderful. How exciting. Oh, I've been hearing so many things going on. Who are you for? Are you a rebel against the Emperor?
Of course not. No, my family are fully behind Emperor Karl Franz.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, well, yes, well, I mean, I've met him myself, a wonderful man. After all, I'm not sure if you're familiar, the Countess Emanuel von Liebowitz, she's my aunt.
Oh, you don't
Can you believe?
The Elector Count? Your aunt? Oh my, that is. And you've met the Emperor too. You must tell me, how was it to meet the man himself, the living god?
Oh, absolutely wonderful, charming. Again, it's been quite some time. When was that? About 7-8 years ago, I think. I was barely a teenager.
Well, and what brings you here to this, fine little outpost of the Empire?
You move forwards, and again, some of the servants come by and quickly offer you something to eat or drink from the banquet that seems to be on the table here. The man with the funny wig is giving you a little bit of a concerned look. He seems to be assessing you, especially you as well, Gurner. Gurner, how are you? You've seen this man with Sebastian. He's done lots of bowing. You think that's what you do to nobles, you bow, but you don't quite know how he did it. Like, he did something with the back of his hand, but he also did something with his knee.
Yes. Well, I think that's for them to do. I expect to be more of a shadow in this circumstance. I try to make note of everything, however, and I then try and stay as unseen as I can, except, of course, for being in service of my lord, my master now, von Schlissel. I do look like farm folk. There's no getting away from that. I've got golden brown hair, blue eyes, I'm quite tall and quite heavy of build as well. If I had my way in this tavern, or any tavern, I would have preferred a good brawl to this. But here I am, dressed up, standing up like this, and I try to just see what the other servants do, and specifically those that attend directly to the most important people, and I try to copy that, seeing if there's any specific needs or anything that I can attend to my master who's there.
Well, you quickly learn a few things. Number one, when you try and assist anyone else, you are politely told by guards that it's not needed. And of course, okay, you suppose that doesn't make sense. You're not part of the staff of this fine person. You're part of this gentleman's staff, Sebastian von Schlissel. So, in that case, it seems you just hang back for the moment until he summons you. And yes, you will try and hang back and pay attention. Again, lots of guards. There's a few maids. One of them has very long dark hair, quite attractive, and she seems to be taking care of the drinks. There's that man with a funny wig. You don't know, is he a noble? You've ever seen a funny-looking wig like that? It's all white and powdery, and he looks like quite an old man. He's giving you a bit of a look. And then you also notice there is, near some of the guards, a very tall, intimidating man. He's bald, dark-skinned, but he's got a smile on his face, and he's doing a bit of an arm wrestle with one of the other guards, and doing very well, and everyone's laughing.
Ooh, now that would be something I would be more interested in, but that is probably above my station. I try to, sneak a few questions here and there, since I'm not allowed to help with the serving. If someone goes by or stands near me for a little while, I'll do try and ask to see who this, the funny wigged fellow is, for example.
Why don't you roll a gossip roll?
That is 1 success level.
Well, in that case, you do notice that, again, the one serving the drinks, this rather tall, dark-haired woman, although she does seem to have quite thick arms and legs, you notice. She seems to be reachable for a moment as she goes to the bar. Maybe she could answer your questions.
Yes, I'll say, good evening there. I seem to be put out of service because you're handling your station so efficiently.
Huh? Oh, well, yes, I am a servant to the Gravins. Are you with that other man?
Ah, yes. That's my master, von Schlissel.
Right.
Quite the company you've got here. Who's that man? The one with the interesting powdered wig.
Oh, that's the Gravin's lawyer.
Oh, I see. Is it a particular business that they're doing out here, or is it just happened to stop by?
Oh, it's just a little stop by, I think. Just travelling. And she gives you a bit of a guarded look. You've been successful in getting her attention, but if you want more information, you might need to pry, it seems.
I'm not really sure what I want to know at this time, but I suppose I could ask. So, you've been travelling far and wide then, seeing the world a bit?
No, we're coming from Amberstein and heading to Altdorf, and then hopefully back as soon as possible.
Oh, I see. So you're just visiting as well. We were on our way to Altdorf, us too, as it happens.
She gives you a bit of a look, and nods and says, "Wonderful. Well, forgive me, I must be getting back to work."
Of course you must. I try and give her a nice, warming smile.
And she rushes back to serving her Gravin. What do you do next? Again, you're by the bar, and obviously there's bar staff there, and the innkeeper himself. They're obviously looking and serving people. And also at this stage, you just notice the main doors open, facing the road side of the tavern, that is, rather than the boat side. And in come 3 individuals, cloaked. One of them's quite elderly, a young woman and another man, and they just kind of walk in very quietly and just look around, and then head to a table in a corner and sit by themselves.
Anything notable about these people? And I see them come in, being there. It's a bit of a late hour to be travelling in, and also not be perhaps asking for services.
It certainly is. Roll an intuition check. Give yourself a +10 due to, well, your training.
That's a 6.
4 success levels, very good. It is a little unusual, but they are a group of people. They're clearly all together. They go and sit in a corner. Travellers, cloaks. They seem to have some sort of necklaces on, a little symbol on it. Ooh, might be symbols of Verena. Verena is the god of wisdom, learning, knowledge. So maybe they're priests, or not. They don't seem to have the full regalia. Maybe just people who worship Verena. One of them's carrying a bag, and you do notice there are some books in it. These might be travelling scholars.
Interesting. Perhaps there was something to learn from that company. I look over to, to Sebastian and see if he is needing me right now, or if he's completely engrossed in what he's doing.
Well, Sebastian, do you need a servant right now? You're being asked to sit down and speak with this woman. Again, up close, she is everything a Reichlandern noble should be. Dressed in fine fashions. Her accent does indeed sound a little bit like the accent of Null. You have met some ambassadors from Null, after all. It's not too far from your home, or your province, rather, the duchy. And it is an important place. One of the biggest cities of the Empire. Once the capital, before it became Altdorf.
Well, no, I have just been trying to engage in polite conversation with the Gravin, trying to learn as much as possible about why they are here and what their journey is all about. Just seeing if there's any way that I can perhaps offer my services in some way or somehow put myself in her good graces.
And she responds, "Oh my, nothing exciting, just a little trip to Altdorf, and then maybe somewhere else, and then going back home, and very, very dull." And that man, the lawyer, leans forward and says, "Yes, very, you wouldn't be interested, my lord, terribly dull."
If you say so, I find that most journeys have at least something interesting about them, and that, well, it's not always about what we aim to do at the end of the journey, but rather the journey itself. And this is one such step in our journey. This fateful meeting where we have gotten to know each other in this strange little outpost of the Empire, as I said, this little backwater. It's perhaps it's fated that we were supposed to meet.
Perhaps indeed. Where are you heading to? Altdorf as well?
Ah, yes, of course. To the capital. I must see if there's some way that I can be of service to the Empire and support my family. I don't know how much you know of the situation in Ebersreich, but, well, it's not easy these days. Not easy at all.
No, I can imagine. No, I don't know too much. I'm doing my best to just make do and hopefully attend a few parties. My aunt's famous for her parties. They are truly quite spectacular.
Have I heard of these parties?
You certainly have. She is said to host some of the greatest parties in the entire province.
I have heard of these parties. I have heard that they are truly something out of this world. Heavenly. It is said, I can only wish that one day I would be able to attend such an event, especially attended by someone as beautiful and lovely as you, dear Graven.
Would you like to roll a charm check? Give yourself a +10.
Ah, that's 1 degree of success.
She smiles and nods. Oh, my goodness. Well, hopefully you will. But unfortunately, we do need to be getting off quite early in the morning, don't we, Herr Reich-Chandler? And the older gentleman nods. Yes, Graven, we should start getting you ready and begin closing up. It'll be a very long journey in the morning, very dull journey. And he gives you a bit of a look. He seemed to get a little anxious when you were the talk of parties came up, you noticed.
Well, it's pretty clear that their journey is not as dull as they say, but then again, I have no reason to really dig too deep into this. I think the most important thing for me to do in this situation is really just to leave a good impression, again, related to an electric count that might be of use in one day, and simply just to see if I can offer my services. If there is actually something that I might be of assistance with, well, then this would be the chance to get that. So I will say just that. Well, I will, of course, then let you retire to your quarters. Do let me know if there's anything that I can be of service with, if there's anything you need help with. I am at your service, dear Graven.
And she smiles and nods as she gets ready to stand and says, well, who knows? Maybe we can talk in the morning. That'd be quite delightful over breakfast.
Ah, that sounds excellent. I look forward to it. I wish you the sweetest of dreams and a lovely night.
And she nods and begins to head upstairs, accompanied then by an awful lot of guards and servants as the room begins to calm down just a little. The lawyer gets up, again, gives you a bit of a look. He's clearly assessing you and wondering who you are and why you're here, but then he shrugs and heads up himself. And, well, there you are, Sebastian. You've made an impression. Maybe in the morning, over breakfast, you can inquire a little more. For now, though, you look around, and, well, you are a little hungry yourself, although there is some food there that you apparently are allowed to have. And again, you hear some laughter from a table nearby, as you also notice this large, dark-skinned gentleman, very big, very tall, very muscular, winning an arm wrestling competition, and everyone laughing.
Ah, I will use that to entertain myself while I'm enjoying this food, and I'll nod to Gerner. Ah, manservant, please... enjoy some of this banquet that's prepared. It's good food.
Are you certain, Master von Schlissel? I don't want to, pry on your select banquet.
Ha. No, you have earned it. You truly are one of the best manservants I've ever had. I say laughing because I can't even kind of keep the charade up now that there's no one to do it in front of, really.
I laugh too, and I sit down and I think, well, I'd probably better not have too much wine. Don't know where this crazy night would end, but sure, what could it harm? I do sneak a glance over at the other company that entered, though. If they are scholars, it would be interesting knowing what their business is about as well.
They are... Roll a perception check.
That's 1 success level.
You notice one of them does glance up just a little as the Graven, and more importantly as that lawyer follows her. They glance in his direction for a moment. It's very quick though, and then they look back to themselves. They've ordered some drinks, and they're just sitting muttering to each other very quietly.
I take some food, and stack it on a plate, and I start eating. Oof, can't resist a good meal like this. And I talk at the side of my mouth, almost to at the corner of my mouth, almost to Sebastian. See, there's a little company that just entered the tavern. I can't help but, would you call it completely crazy if I hadn't thought that they're not here by accident at the same time as the Countess and her group?
No, I think you might be right about that. The Graven was here for some reason, and, there's always plots of various kinds going on in the Empire, after all. Well, let's keep our eyes open. See if we can perhaps prevent some kind of attempt at her life. I hear those happens all the time.
Oh, well, I'm sure that's a bit dramatic. I giggle to myself inwards in my head, thinking about plots and secrets and how now Master von Schlissel has revealed his identity to me. I think it would be quite a bit more of an upset if I revealed my identity to him, so I'll probably not do that for quite some time. And I have a little bit of the food, but then I ask Sebastian, listen, they seem to be having awfully fun there with a bit of arm wrestling. Would you mind terribly if I joined them?
Oh, please go ahead. I'd actually like to join you. I enjoy some of these lower forms of entertainment as well.
And I'm not taking offense at this, because this is what I think is fun, and he'll probably has his ideas and also must keep up his facade of what he thinks is interesting. Let's go over to them, the guards, now, and see how that's going, and see if there's a chance for me to join.
Well, as you head over in that direction, most of the guards seem to be heading upstairs, and the servants are departing as well. You notice quite a few of them are heading to a downstairs area. That makes sense. While maybe some of the most important maids and butlers have rooms upstairs, most of the servants will be expected to sleep with the coachman and the boatman down below. So this gentleman is looking a little upset, and one person, just as you approach them, is saying, like, Herr Frank, it's probably best you head up to bed. You don't want to hurt yourself or anything. You have your duties to attend to, sir. And this man goes, I know that, I know. In a moment, man. And he notices you coming over and says, you! You look like a fine fellow. Little arm wrestle before the evening sets. Ha!
I start to roll up my sleeves. Well, I couldn't see a better way to end it myself. Need a little bit of work off that food, I think. I tap my...
Of course. No, you see, they're worried I'm going to hurt myself, but I don't hurt myself. It pays to keep the muscles nice and firm. Important in my career.
Frank, was it?
Bruno Frank. Call me Bruno.
Lovely to meet you. I am Gerner Bauer.
Pleasure. Again, very interesting accent this man has. You're not quite sure you're familiar with it. But he is, up close, very big, over 6 foot tall, very muscular, this dark-skinned gentleman, bold, and he has golden earrings in one of his ears.
Fascinating. I wonder where he's from. But he seemed to be part of the company, did he? Like part of the guards?
He is wearing something that does have the same heraldry on it, yes, but now you think about it, he doesn't necessarily look like one of them. He has got a fine weapon, a rapier by his side as well.
And are you, as I sit down and get myself ready, are you part of the other group that just left?
No, I stole this uniform and I'm pretending to be someone I'm not.
Yes, of course.
Oh, my boy, no, of course I am. I'm the Graven's judicial champion.
And what does that mean to me?
Judicial champion. Roll Law Reichland. Both of you can roll this roll.
4 negative success levels, is that what you said?
I just succeed by 1.
Well, champion. My goodness, Gerner. A champion. This must be like one of her knights. Maybe this is a knight himself. He has got armor on. Wow, a knight. A full knight. Of course, this must be who he is. You, of course, Sebastian, would know that is a judicial champion. That is her champion, as in her champion for judicial matters. For example, trial by combat or a bodyguard.
I am a bit starstruck by this, thinking, oh, this is what I wanted to be once, and now it's taken from me. Well, let's have a good game anyway.
So, you and your friend, which do arm wrestle, want to put some money down on it? A gold crown, perhaps?
Oh, well, I was more in it for the honor of winning the match myself.
Oh, very well then, friend, very well. Put it up! He puts down a very meaty fist and arm on the table and looks at you expectantly.
Well, I do slap up my hard-working peasant's arm and get ready to grip and go for it.
And he clasps his hand with yours, and the game begins. Sebastian, how are you feeling? This is very exciting.
Yes, and now that my manservant is arm wrestling, he is, of course, partially representing the house of von Schlüssel. So I need him to win. I'll do it for the family, I say.
Yes, master.
Very well. Make your roll at a +10.
All right.
Due to this fine encouragement. It's a strength roll.
Well, I roll a 2. So that's, I suppose, 3 success levels for me.
Indeed. You go forward and begin to fight this man. Well, fight him in a competition, that is. There is a lot of strength here. This is a very tough and formidable foe. But you do notice he sways a little. And you look and do notice he has had a few drinks tonight, it seems. And so you feel that moment where he quite literally loses positioning. He goes forward a bit too quickly, possibly due to drunkenness, and you're able to take advantage and easily smack his hand down on the table.
Aha!
He frowns and nods. Ah, damn it. You let me arm get away there. Maybe I should have another drink.
Well, nothing wrong with that. Really an honor to meet you. You must be, you have worked hard for your position. I'm very impressed.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, it is a hard job to maintain, but it's an honor to maintain it. And, well, who knows, I'll be in action very soon by the sounds of it. And he kind of nurses his hand a little, and he does frown again. You think you got quite lucky there. He is a very big man. If he wasn't drunk, not entirely sure that would have been so easy.
Yeah, and I do feel that a little bit. It's not just the rush of having won. It wasn't completely fair with him having already gone a few matches and me just coming fresh off of it and hardly having drunk anything at all. I say, well, I saw you in plenty of those matches before. I just came in at the last second there, and I saw you slipping with the grip.
Nonsense!
Clearly been doing this for a while.
Nonsense! A fine day indeed. Fine day indeed. And it's always good to meet people who give you a challenge. Ha! And he thumps his fist on the table and starts to stand. I suppose I better go upstairs for a moment, but... if you're still here in a little bit, I might come back down and get in one more drink. And he gives you a wink.
Sounds good to me, and I hope your services then won't be called too soon. It sounds like some grave business.
Oh, nothing I can't handle.
Yeah, and I'm curious now. I wonder what he's going to do, if there's going to be conflict brewing or something else.
Speaking of which, Sebastian, due to your role, you know this is a judicial champion. He's hoping he won't be called in to play too soon. Well, I mean, obviously he could be being a bodyguard, but, well, he could also be being used as a judicial champion, which, you know, something not always done that much in some parts of the Empire these days. Some people consider it quite old-fashioned, the idea of trials by combat. It's normally more trials for pageants or parties or tournaments. But, yes, what is this man up to, do you think?
I mean, the Gravens brought her lawyer and her judicial champion, so clearly there's some form of legal complication that is going on here. Well, that much I think I figured out. Now, what that would be, it's a good question. It probably isn't something that's happening here in this little ass end of the Empire, but perhaps in Altdorf, maybe. If they're headed there, why not?
You could always try a charm roll here, catch this man off guard. After all, he is talking to your manservant quite friendly.
Well, I shall try that then. I roll a 20, so that is charm 3 levels of success.
A good success. Ask your question. It will be successful.
Judicial champion, yes. It wouldn't be here that trial by combat would happen, would it? Altdorf, right?
Oh, certainly. We're going to have it right now. In 10 minutes, the pigs and the horses will be the main, courtroom, and the barman can be the magister, the magistrate.
That would be something for the history books. No, I assume it must be over in Altdorf then, perhaps, or?
Well, it might not be, depending how it goes.
Huh. I'm sure you're not allowed to reveal anything more about this particular bout that you might be facing, but should there be anything to share? I mean, we are dying for some good rumors. We've been on a boat for a long time.
Oh, I don't spread rumors, and there's nothing to be worried about. No, I will be doing my job, defending my lady's honor, and I shall win, and therefore everything, will be cleared.
You're defending her honor from something grave then, yes?
Yes, a terrible accusation. He looks around and then frowns. I probably shouldn't just talk about that sort of thing, but yes, of course, I'm going to win, it'll all be cleared up, and then we'll all be heading back home.
Whatever you say is safe with me, just in case you would like to share it. I hear it always helps to share with others. You feel better that way.
Well, again, there's not much to say. It's a false accusation, and I'm going to clear it, and yes, obviously you've seen the Gravin. She doesn't go around murdering people, so it's clearly not false.
If she did murder someone, I'm sure she would do it very well, though.
Maybe.
So it's not murder, then? Something...
Well... Well, exactly. She has not committed murder, yes.
And I just kind of try to wait it out almost, like kind of be quiet and just see if it will jump out of him, because he is drunk after all. So I just kind of give him that look of, you want to share with me, you know.
Roll an intuition check.
Just a success. 2 below.
Well, you don't think he does want to share everything with you, because otherwise that would count as betraying his master, who he seems quite loyal to. But... he did say not murder twice. So that means it's murder.
It's good that it's not murder. Murder is very bad.
Indeed. And the person accusing her is a rake and a charlatan, and, well, we all know the truth, and soon the courts will as well.
Now, this charlatan that you mentioned, I must know of charlatans, because I must avoid them. Who should I avoid?
Well, I suppose, yes, you should definitely avoid, who else would it be? Of course, it's the Damenplatzes.
Damenblotzens. Are these some folks that I know about?
Roll a law heraldry check.
That is a failure, but I would actually really like to know this. I'm going to use a point of fortune and re-roll that.
Which gives you a re-roll.
Very good, and that is 2 degrees of success.
Where is that again? Duchy of Dunkelberg? Or was it Wissenberg? Can't quite remember which one. Yes, that's a powerful, noble family. Nearby, especially Wissenberg. That's quite close to Amberstein. But he does nod as you repeat the name and go, yes, exactly, the Damenplatz, the son of the Baron. Baron Eberhard von Damenplatz of Wissenberg. Yes, the son of the late Baron Otto von Damenplatz. That's what it's all about, of course. And he frowns and says, but again, you didn't hear that from me.
No, of course I did not hear that. No. So he's making accusations, you say. Oh, that is a dastardly thing to do. To someone as fine as the Gravin.
Indeed, certainly, especially because everyone knows the truth. The damn man, Otto, he just drunk himself to death at that party. It's obvious, but he says, it's witchery, poison, sabotage, murder, all that.
Oh, so his father is dead. Oh, I did not know. Did I know this?
No.
His father has passed away. Oh my, that is certainly unfortunate. But, of course, the Gravin had nothing to do with something like that. Could not be.
Of course. And I shall prove it in combat.
That is the way to do it. There can be no doubt then.
Well, I mean, it's obviously the best way would have been courts, but, we have a feeling that Damenplatz, he's the sort of person who pulls strings and spreads lies. No, combat is the truest way. The gods know the truth, and with Sigmar as my witness, I shall prove it.
Yes, the truth will be revealed through Sigmar's power. That we can trust. And with you, dealing that justice and making everything clear, I am certain that, well, yes, justice will be served well, and the Graven will be able to move on ahead from all this unfortunate
Indeed
business.
she shall, my lord. Indeed she shall. You can count on me.
Yes, you can know that you have the full backing of House von Schlüssel. We stand fully behind you and wish you the best in this trial by combat. Good luck.
I shall let the Graven know that. And with that, again, a servant comes and quite annoyingly says, Bruno, upstairs, you need to speak to the Graven and really should then go to bed. All right. Forgive me, friends. I will be back, but I do have to go upstairs for a moment.
I nod.
And up he goes, upstairs. What do the two of you do? It is now, roughly, about 9:40, 9:50. Not too late still.
So I'll kind of lean over to Gerner and did you get all that?
Well, it might not be in my station to learn all these things, but yes. So this Eberhard has spoken ill of the Graven, and well, what do you think? Is she capable of murdering her? What was it? Her father? Her grandfather?
The Graven is accused of murder. Is she capable of it? Well, people are capable of quite a lot more than they may appear to be capable of. People carry secrets with them, you know? Just like I carried my secret. But you wouldn't be carrying any secrets, would you?
Oh, no, I'm just out traveling, just picking up information and passing it on. That's everything.
It's refreshing with people just being what they appear to be, I must say. In the circles I normally move about in, people rarely are all that they seem to be. There's always plots and conniving going on in the background, as I said.
Oh no, that's not for me. All that, those things in the shadows and hiding, no. I prefer to play my cards open as well.
And at that moment, the doors swing open again as some more people enter the tavern. A young woman accompanied by a slightly older man. She's maybe in her 20s, he's maybe in his 40s. He seems quite well dressed, although they are wearing thick brown traveller's cloaks. And in they come and just head to the bar to begin inquiring about a room. And I would like you to roll, Sebastian, a perception check. No, an intuition check, but give yourself a +20 due to your etiquette skills.
That is another failure, but I will use then a point of fortune again, because I do want to know who these folks are, and I should have a good chance. Yes, that is just success barely.
Well, initially you don't think they're that important at all. I mean, maybe they're merchants or travelling business folk, but then the way the man speaks, he suddenly commands the innkeeper quite loudly, and then he almost stops himself. It's something like, "You there, barkeep! I mean, please, barkeep, we'd love to rent a room for the night." And then the woman, "Oh, yes, we'd like to rent a room." And then there's a lot of giggling and hand-holding. That was almost a bit of a noble bearing on that man. He looks familiar. But where from? You're not sure.
I try to look as closely as I can without staring.
I'd like you to roll another intuition check, please.
1 degree of success.
You think you recognize this man, although it can't be, because isn't that Baron Frederick von Fiefrancher? Baron Frederick von Fiefrancher. You think you've seen him somewhere before. You think he's the son of, well, the oldest son at least, of the Count of Grissenwald, which is somewhere a little lower down on the River Reich from just one of the last stops before Nuln. Is that him? You think it is, but it can't be because, well, he's married to a much older woman and wouldn't be here. Oh, so there's no servants. It's just these two.
Could it be him? Being here with a younger woman? I mean, adultery is certainly a thing in the old world, I would assume.
It certainly is.
So, it absolutely could be.
Could be. Very scandalous as well.
Well, I mean, I don't wish to create a scene. I'll And of course, if I reveal that I have recognized him, that might potentially put me in some danger if he actually is here with his mistress. So I'll just try to keep an ear out and just kind of see if I can overhear what it is that they're saying. If they're perhaps somehow involved in all this business with the Graven. It could be.
Certainly. What do you do, Gurner? You notice this couple too. They don't look anything special to you, just some merchants perhaps. So you do notice your friend Sebastian suddenly looks very keenly in their direction.
I'll lean over to Gerner just to relay the information because I want him to know what I know. So that looks a lot like Baron Frederick von Vifrancher, son of the Count of Grisdenwald. He is married to an older woman, and that is not an older woman. This might be some kind of adultery thing, or perhaps something else. It seems strange that he would be here the same night as the Graven is, especially given what the Graven is going through. Let's keep our eyes open.
Well, that's interesting. I was just thinking that doesn't sound related at all, but if you think that it is, then certainly. Did any of those you mentioned have a relation to the events that Bruno described?
Can I connect them somehow?
You would have no idea. You only just got the events very secondhand from Bruno. You don't actually know what's happened.
Are they anywhere close to Wissenberg, the Grisdenwalds, or the Vifranchers?
A little bit, but by this point you're now, obviously, lots of provinces border other provinces. Duchies and counties.
Right. Yeah, I don't see an obvious connection myself yet. It's just there's just something special about it, about the fact that they're both here at the same time.
At this point, would both of you like to roll a perception check if you are trying to overhear them?
Certainly. That's 3 success levels for me.
I fail.
Quite hard to overhear them, Sebastian, but Gurner, you are actually quite good at overhearing things, and you just hear their conversation with the innkeeper. Seems to be, yes, that's Herr and Frau Schmidt.
Yes, Herr and Frau Schmidt. 1 room, please.
Yes, sir, you're very lucky. We're almost out of rooms, but yes, that's all right. 10 silvers. And he pays, and then, with a lot of laughter and giggling, they step past you and begin heading upstairs. They don't even stop for food or drink.
Well, they just named themselves the Schmidts, so it's clearly something, it just sounds like a bit of adultery going on here to me, like someone sneaking off to an inn in the countryside to have their bit of fun. But if you think we should follow them up to see if something happens, there's a whole retinue of guards up there as well.
Oh, well, we could just... let's just head to our room and just see if anything happens in the corridor there. It'd be nice. It'd be interesting to know which room they're staying in anyways. So, yeah, I'll begin heading up, kind of just naturally, seemingly heading towards my room. I've already eaten anyways, so... And there's always the opportunity to come back down. So, yeah, try to do that.
That is, you... And while that happens, what do you do, Gurner?
I look a bit hesitantly as he's after him as he goes, and I then look at the other company. If they're possibly academics or scholars, that would be interesting to see what they're part of, if they would even open up to someone joining them. I'll go just over to that table for a second.
Indeed. So, Sebastian, you head upstairs nice and casually, just following behind this couple, and you see them very quickly go straight across the hallway, upstairs, to room number 11, the room just before the stairs, fumble with the keys, laugh, and enter their room. And then you're standing there, and you notice the guards, and you notice Bruno seems to be chatting with one of them before walking to the left. And that's what you see.
Yes, well, I can't really do anything more with that information. Had the Graven been outside, I might just have let her know that there's some fun adultery going on here. That would certainly make for good gossip, nobles between nobles. But given that she's not here, I'm not about to bother her now with something like that. I'll just casually move into my room, pretend that I'm picking something up, and then I'll head right back down.
Indeed. Gurna, you head over to this table. What do you do?
I will go and try and introduce myself, but in a disarming kind of way, not charming necessarily, but just excusing myself, asking, well, good evening. I couldn't help but see that you're traveling with quite a little library there. Are you perhaps scholars? I happen to be an academic myself.
The younger man gives you a very, very rude stare. The woman leans back a little and frowns. The older man is the one who speaks. Yes, we are scholars. What business is it of yours, sir?
Well, not necessarily mine business at all. I'm just stuck here for the night, and I'm looking to find if there could be any interesting acquaintances to make. Is it any particular field that you're studying?
I study botany and herbology. And the younger man says, yes, that's right. Botany and herbology. You a alchemist or a herbalist?
Oh, well, I'm not necessarily into those fields, but I have overheard quite a bit. I have a friend who's very into herbology himself, and I keep hearing this and that thing, and is it something new that you are learning about currently? Any recent breakthroughs?
Roll an intuition check.
That is a 2 success levels.
The younger man pauses for a moment, as if he's trying to think of what to say. The woman then leans forward and says, yes, worms. Things about worms. Highly uninteresting. Again, we're just trying to have a peaceful drink here, sir. And the older man says, yes, indeed. Good evening to you. We're talking private business, not for people like yourself.
All right, let's see. What was the amulets that they were all wearing? Verena, yes?
Yes.
I give them a slight bow then, and I say, well, Verena's blessings be with you, and good evening.
Yes, Verena's blessings be with you, yes. And they immediately all begin talking quite quietly to each other, giving you the eye, making sure you depart the table, it seems.
Yes, well, I do so. Feeling a bit entertained and feeling like what they were doing just then might not have been completely honest. They're probably not scholars at all. Peculiar, this is.
It certainly is peculiar. Sebastian, you make your way back downstairs, and then hear behind you a bit of movement, and there's Bruno, and he's coming downstairs again and saying, hello there again, my lord. Don't suppose you fancy a quick arm wrestle yourself, or drink?
Well, a drink is always good. Just make sure that you don't drink too much, and indulge too much before the combat, huh?
Oh, well, it's not happening tomorrow, is it?
Oh, you never know when it happens, right? It could happen at any time. By the way, you shared some information with me. I was thinking I could share some information with you. Do you know of Baron Frederick from Fiefrancher? Have you heard of him?
He follows you to the bar. Can't say I do, my lord. Who's that?
He's the son of the Count of Grisdenwald.
Oh, interesting. What about him?
I saw someone who looked an awful lot like him. Perhaps here with a mistress. They are in room 11. And I just figured that you would need to know about something like that. There's a lot of nobles around here today.
Oh, well, that is interesting. He looks at you and lowers his voice. Careful who you say that to, though. A little bit of an accusation there.
Well, I mean, I didn't hear anything you said. You didn't hear anything I said, right?
Understood. Interesting coincidence, I suppose. But, it's, taking into account my position, sir, obviously can't be getting up to too much political intrigue. Could cost me my job in my head.
Indeed. I just figured it's good that someone like yourself knows about this. Just in case there's something going on, you know. Accusations are being thrown about willy-nilly, and you never know who's involved, right?
He gives you a firm nod and smirks a little, and then orders a drink. Gurner, you notice your friend return with that fine gentleman, Bruno, and then the doors open again. And this time, the sight is very unusual. Entering the tavern now, as it is approaching roughly, maybe now, finally, about 10 o'clock, is a procession of 3 men. They are dressed in very unusual clothes, solid black. They have on their heads a great deal of feathers and skulls. In fact, one of them is even wearing a skull mask. They are led by an individual not wearing a skull mask, but he has painted his face like a skull. And as he leads the way forward, you notice they're carrying a long box. No, not a box, a casket. 3 gentlemen, dressed in very unusual clothing, have just walked in carrying a literal coffin. What do you do, Gurner?
Well, it's very hard not to stop and stare as this happened. What a strange procession. And I'm getting a bit excited to myself, thinking of how much this tavern is just cramming it into itself this night. I'm very intrigued. Does this ring any bell at all?
Roll Lord Reichland. Give yourself a +10.
Yeah, that's 3 success levels. I'll roll a 4 under 36.
Their clothing is a little outlandish, but you do recall you've seen it before. Of course you have, in the village. They're priests of Mor, the god of death. Of course, they have all the symbols on, skulls and black feathers and the hoods. Slightly dramatic looking. You've known some of the priests of Mor just look like normal people in black robes with a few skulls around the neck. But yes, they must be Morians. And they're carrying a coffin, that makes sense, right? It's a little unusual why they're here right now, but yes, priests of Mor, you think.
Do they always carry coffins around?
Well, not unusually so. They are obviously the people who normally take care of the dead. People are buried due to their rites. Being a good citizen of the Emperor, you of course are familiar with Mor. You will, when you die, go to Mor's gates, and hopefully the priests of Mor will say a few words over you. They already did when you were born. They're the ones who give the doomings.
Right. Well, would it be strange for me to go up to them and ask for their blessing of Mor?
Well, a little. After all, it's the god of death. So you asking for a blessing of Mor normally means you're hoping to pass away peacefully, or you're hoping that you don't die suddenly, or you're hoping that you're recently deceased. Peace passes away peacefully. You could, but again, it's a bit of a strange blessing on a normal night to ask for.
Well, I wouldn't want to stand in their way, so I will just see if they come and settle somewhere or what they actually do.
Well, the 2 carrying the coffin part ways a little. Some of the staff look a bit confused, and then the one with the big headdress comes and stands just behind you, Sebastian, and your friend Bruno, as he says to the innkeeper, "Innkeeper, greetings, blessings of Mor upon you. So, sorry for the inconvenience, but we caught on the roads. We require a room." "Oh, of course, sirs. Right, a room, yes, for all 3 of you? Yes, we need to... So sorry, there is nowhere else for the dearly departed to rest tonight. And you know, well, it is very important we get them to where they're going as soon as possible." "Yes, of course, sir." "Sebastian, what do you think? You think these are priests of Mor? But this is a little unusual."
Well, it certainly is. And the unusual things just keep coming, don't they, tonight? This is all very, very suspicious. And I don't believe in coincidences. Not like this. So, yeah. But I don't have anything really to go on for this, so I'll just keep my eyes open and just see if I can figure out what's going on here.
Well, you keep watching, and the barman goes, "Yes, all right, sirs, yeah, upstairs room, and one left. Well, there's a couple left, but you'll need the big one." And this man just nods, And then a bunch of staff begin trying to assist the two carrying the coffin, but they wave the staff away saying, no, please. You don't want to disrupt the blessings. The blessings, yes. And everyone is very hush-hush because, yes, you don't want to disrupt the blessings. You've heard terrible, terrible things can happen when people are not buried correctly. Things like them walking around in the night and killing people, for example.
Must not have that happen.
And the two people begin carrying the coffin upstairs while the final one says, "Very good, thank you, Innkeep. We must apologize if there is any noise around the later hours of the night. We will be praying constantly." "Oh, of course, priest." "Thank you. Again, may more bless you all." And finally, that third man begins following the others, carrying this coffin up the stairs.
I'm a little curious now. The company that I was just with, calling themselves botanists, are they at all interested in this company that comes in, or are they just keeping to themselves?
Roll a perception check.
2 success levels.
You look in their direction, and you see the older man looking at this pair in utter confusion. The woman is frowning and chatting to the other one, and you even hear the other one say, "That's a bit unusual, isn't it?" "Yeah, I know, it is a bit unusual. Oh, it's not our business. And the older man just nods and says, "Yes, just focus, you two."
Interesting, I think to myself. And I go over to Sebastian. Well, look at that. Odd companies just keep coming for the night.
There's something damn strange about this. I have a bad feeling. I have a real bad feeling for what's going to happen tonight.
What is that?" says Bruno, leading in suddenly, taking one more drink. "Bit unusual, isn't it? Look at that, carrying the coffin round. I guess they didn't get to their temple in time."
I mean, imagine if there's something... Oh, I shouldn't say.
"What?"
Well, just having talked to the people over there, they were clearly hiding something, and I saw them very clearly eyeballing that lawyer. What was his name? Graven's lawyer. I mean...
"Oh, the Graven's lawyer? Oh, that would be Herr Reichstandler. Gustav Reichstandler."
Yeah, as he was walking up there. Does the family make many enemies? I'm just curious.
"Which family? Von Leibowitz? Well, I suppose... Well, they're nobles, aren't they? But my lord would know. Lots of nobles he looks a bit sheepish. Well, you like to assassinate each other, kill each other, to have wars over land and all that."
It gets dreadfully boring if you don't do things like that.
I look at him for a second, just assessing his mettle. It's an interesting statement to make.
Well, I mean, it's the way it's always been. But that's what I've grown up with, and I fully expect one day that someone will try to assassinate me as well. That's just what goes with being a noble, I say, smiling.
What did they say to the innkeeper, the ones coming by just then? Did they actually carry someone dead with them?
Well, you didn't hear them say they had someone dead with them, but they are carrying a coffin, and you did hear Sebastian them say they need to pray over it. So it seems a bit unusual to be carrying an empty coffin and praying over that.
That's strange, isn't it? You're coming in, they're going to make noise throughout the night. Can't help the... Nope, my fantasy is playing with my mind. It's probably the wine.
I had the same ones, I say, leaning over. What if that thing rises and starts killing people? I nod.
And I look at you. Do you look serious as you say this?
Half joking, half serious.
And I give a bark of a half laugh at that then. Not really knowing I'm still young, and there's a still of this that's quite new to me.
Indeed, although it does set a little chill down your spine. You've of course heard the stories. Yes, they do say if you're a bad boy or girl, at least they told you this when you were a child, and you don't get your proper burial by the priests of Moor, or then evil spirits can indeed inhabit you and rise up in the night, and there are things somewhere called Sylvania that suck the blood from people who are, again, bad children. And there's also all sorts of things in the woods, and ghosts can walk around and, again, kill people. There's an awful lot of things you were told that are in the woods that can kill you.
Yes, I think I might have had enough for the night. I start to feel a little bit, like I am done with this day.
It is perhaps time to retire, I'll say. Bruno, you want to stay up and drink more, or what do you think? Time to end for the night?
Oh, you two, you hadn't... No, not yet. Come on, it's only just going past 10. Come on, one more drink with me, you two.
I can stay, but do feel free to head to bed if you want. It's a long day tomorrow again.
Sure, I suppose maybe one more. And I look just upwards as if I could sense what's going on up there. I do feel a bit nervous. I feel almost as if I should be listening out to these prayers once they get started, if that's what they're planning to do up there.
Well, you certainly think so, but you're distracted again as the door goes once again. Someone else enters the tavern. This seems highly crazy. Gerda, you're very paranoid now. You look immediately what nightmarish group will be coming in this time. Although this time there's only one person. Very tall, has a couple of pistols on her side. A woman. She's wearing a very unusual hat. Big, thick one with big feathers on it. And then she walks, a big sword at her side and a crossbow on her back. Travelling levers. And she just walks straight up to the innkeeper, who again is like, "Oh, goodness me, another... How many... We're almost out of rooms at this rate. Yes, Frau. Hello. Yes, one room for night, please. Just one? Yes, that is right, thank you." And she waits at the bar. Gerda, what do you do?
I look over to her, and for a strange second, the word that comes through my head is witch hunter. I don't know where it comes from, but I suppress it and I try to smile and I say, "So, what brings you to these parts?"
The woman turns and looks at you. "Me? Not much. You?"
"Well, just traveling through on my way to the capital."
"Same, on the way to capital."
"You are a mercenary of some sort?"
"Yes."
"Can't help but notice your exquisite weaponry."
She looks at her back and smirks. "Yes, I am mercenary."
In the higher rough?"
"No one. Well, yes. Business in Null. On the way to Altdorf, sort out, yes."
"Alright, you finished a contract just then?"
She narrows her eyes a little at you at this point, clearly not liking the questions. "Yes, I finished one work, now I am on another piece of work. What is your work, sir?"
"Oh, I just trade in information. That's me asking too many questions. I apologize if it's inconveniences."
Little.
"Are you staying for a drink?"
"Yes, I am." And she begins looking around the tavern at all the people still remaining. And at that point, Sebastian, as you look around and Bruno's getting you one more drink in, you notice that one of the gentlemen from the table that had those scholars at it suddenly makes a stand, the younger man. He just goes off and starts heading upstairs. The other two are still nursing their drinks. And then, of course, you notice your friend Gerner talking to this, well, yes, a very armed to the teeth individual.
I think I'll just try to finish the drink with Bruno then, and just try to keep my eyes open in between, the gossip and small talk that I'm doing with him.
Indeed, and you shall as you nurse your drink and keep looking around. Certainly busy, although you do notice a lot of people now are starting to head either upstairs or into the other area, and it is becoming a slightly quieter. Gerda, you're talking to this woman. You notice her looking around, and then she goes to the barkeep and just says, "Barkeep, question?" "Yes, ma'am." happen to see any priests on the road lately, yes? Yes, ma'am. Just came in a moment ago. Ah, good.
You expecting to find someone that you meet here tonight? I mean, meet someone that you know here tonight. I mean, see someone you know here tonight.
The woman narrows her eyes at you. No, I am not expecting to meet anyone I know tonight.
But you're in the lookout for priests, you said. Figures is a fun coincidence, you coming in at just after a company of priests have entered.
It is indeed funny coincidence. She turns and rests a hand on her belt, and again that rapier. You're friends with priests? You know them?
Not particularly, no. I didn't have a chance to talk to them. They were carrying a coffin, though. Seems like someone parted quite recently.
Yes. I suppose they must have.
Oh, must they?
Yes.
Why so? Do you know anything about that?
She smiles, toys with the rapier a little. Who are you, sir? Really, you will tell me.
Well, my name is Gerner Stark, and again, I am out traveling, trying to find out a bit more information. I was looking for a person, and that one wasn't there. Trying to find out what bad business she might be up to. Couldn't find her. Her home was broken into, and now I'm just on my way back to Altdorf to convey said information to my unknown masters.
Ah, I see. In that case, you have nothing to worry about. Have a good evening, friend.
I look at her for a second, and I'll say, well, the same to you, madam.
And she turns and she begins drinking her drink and watching the exit, but says no more. What do you do, Gerner?
I turn back to Sebastian and just raise my eyebrows.
I raise mine too. Lots of people here tonight with a lot of different agendas.
And some of them seem to know each other and others don't. Botanists. They call themselves botanists, the ones over there. But as I tried to question them further, they were clearly blabbering about worms and not really knowing what they were talking about.
That's...
I'd be curious to see what books it were that they were carrying with them.
Certainly, but I must confess that this journey is starting to get to me. Perhaps some rest might not be out of order now.
Well, it's funny that, because that's just what I thought for a little while ago, but now I'm starting to feel that resting is the last bit I can do. And I see this woman watching the door, and so I start watching the door, almost expecting another company to come in.
Bruno seems to be nursing his last drink, and you do notice then some guards come down the stairs, 2 of them, and they come and they join him and you, and they order a drink as well, although one of them says, like, Bruno, you should probably be heading back upstairs at some point. He's like, oh, in a minute, I'll drink with you two, come on. And it's like, all right, Bruno, one final drink. You recognise the guards. You think they were the ones who were upstairs just about, 20 minutes ago. Again, it's now, the evening is drawing on, about 10:30 now, you think to yourself.
Guards upstairs have come down. That means less guards upstairs. Well, I suppose I'll just finish what I have here. I am genuinely starting to get a little bit sleepy myself, so just enjoy this last one, and then I'll see if I can get some rest too. This is all very, very interesting, of course, but until something happens, it's just a lot of coincidences and interesting people gathering in one place for this one night.
Indeed. And so eventually you'll make your excuse and head upstairs and begin heading to your room. Gerner, your friend seems to be willing to retire for the night, but what do you do?
Well, there's just so much going on. I wish I could find out more about what's happening, but the botanists, as they call themselves, having closed up, and now this mercenary having closed up as well, if that's what she claims to be. That little indication of me not being in any danger, considering who I am, well, I wonder what it is that she's hunting. Maybe I'll just, since Bruno's still here and the other guards are here, I'll just join them and do a little bit of more small talk and see if any other interesting gossip comes up.
Indeed. Sebastian, you walk up the stairs, eventually making your excuses and goodbyes. Takes you another 5-10 minutes. You say goodnight to Gerner. You walk over to your room. You notice at this point, okay, there's no guards now up here. The one's downstairs. But, not the end of the world. Again, you do remember there were an awful lot of guards. Some of them probably have gone into their own rooms, but the ones who are watching the hallway, well, they're now downstairs. It's all very nice and quiet up here. The candles are lit low. And you turn the key and walk into your room. And you walk into your room, and it's pitch black. You go to light the candles. And then would you roll me a perception check?
A failure, so I'll use a point of fortune. And that is 3 degrees of success.
Going to the bed. Again, this room has 2 separate beds, thankfully. Some chests, and there's also a large cupboard, which is for linen. And you notice the cupboard door is slightly ajar. It's odd. Why would it be ajar? And then you smell something a bit odd in the air.
I'll go and see what that is. That's not good.
You go and open the cupboard, and out falls a body. Onto the floor.
I audibly yell, "Oh, by Sigmar!"
And what do you do as you look down and see a body of a young man dressed in a cloak with some symbols of Verena on his neck, and notice the blood beginning to now pool on the floor.
I will immediately begin making my way down. I need to report this to the innkeep, otherwise someone's going to think that I did this. Murdered! Someone's been murdered!
And so you exit your room, and just as you yell out murder, you think, yes, you wouldn't want them to think it was you with the body in your room. But, well, too late now, as you call out murder in the tavern.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play Rough Nights and Hard Days for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, and Apocryphus, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, and Mike Parker for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want early access to our content and to hear raw versions of our recordings right after we've done them, or get your name announced as a champion of the Red Moon, do check out our higher level tiers on Patreon. It's a great way to get more Red Moon role-playing in your life and to help us keep the show going. Thank you again for listening, and remember that there are no mutants in the Empire.